Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Roadster Rumble, and we are going straight into it tonight. So we'll get rid of that music. A short intro tonight. I thought I had a 10-minute lead in before race one. Things have changed. Let's take you straight through the grid as they do line up. Jack Boyd's put it on pole position, and I will try and go through a little bit of information regarding last week's round, which was fantastic and a great way to kick off the season. But here we are, round 2 tonight, and we're doing it once again. The 86 is at the front, the MX5 is at the back. Jack Boyd has put it on pole position, as you can see at the front, with Brenton Hobson, Jared Philsell as well, who in fact last week we had Brenton Hobson, who took away the round 1, basically first championship points of the round, with a 146 point entry into this championship, 1 point ahead of Jared Philsell and Jack Boyd, who's about 10 points behind the two of them. So 3 at the top, and here they are again tonight, with Boyd leading it out. Hobson, Philsell, then it's Hughes, put it on the second row of the grid as well. Ben Snell's going to go out of 5 with Harrison. Then you've got Kasha Borg, Moroz, and Tesseriro out of the top 10. So pretty good qualifying all in all there at this great Watkins Glen circuit. If you're just joining us, welcome. Here is the race info for tonight. Round number 2, the Roadster Rumble, season number 8 for our 645th broadcast here. The temperature out there, 20 degrees. We're at an altitude of 445 feet tonight. Watkins Glen in the US of A, of course, doing the boot configuration. So it should be some fast slipstreaming as we saw last week. And we've got to hope we get through turn 1. A few changes have been made to Watkins Glen since previous builds. And in fact, turn 1, I presume you do get an off track these days. And that's something they'll try and avoid, because it's all about keeping those X's down in this series. You do get bonus points, you get penalty points as well. And here we go. Let's get set for a start to get us underway for race number 1 of 2 tonight. There's your start from overhead. Pretty good start by Boyd at the front. In fact, it's pretty even right down the board as we're looking down from the overhead camera. And the big run down towards turn 1, this first braking zone. So far, so good. We start to get through. Further back, you can see Oliver has made up 3 positions. We've got a spinner at the front. It's Ben Snell, who's gone around, and he's going to be right in the middle of things. They're trying to avoid it, but they're going either way, trying to get through. I think most of them have. They've cleared Snell, but he's gone backwards at the start of this race, unfortunately. Back to the front, though, we look at Jack Boyd, who leads us onto this straightaway. Philsell, Hobson, Hughes, then Harrison, Borg, Kasha, Moroz, Tesseriro, and Mel brings himself up into the top 10. We are going to refresh these paints. They haven't come through during qualifying, but yep, we'll have a look at them as they do come in. We should see Jared Philsell, hopefully, shortly, with his proper paint job on, matching Brenton Hobson. We talked about that last week. The 3 at the front have already gapped the rest of the field. We've got a spinner back in the pack. They're beating themselves up. Someone's just gone exit stage left towards the fence. Keith Logan has just gone through there as well. Someone's going slow. Ray Morgan, it may have been, who's just dropping back slightly as well. So got a couple of newcomers tonight in this series as well, and 4 new drivers in fact. And well, we had 40 plus in race number 1 last week, and we've got 48 competitors out there tonight. So huge field of cars, as to be expected. Aaron Oliver in the mix of things as we watch him up 5 positions into 11th. Now he's pushing on very well and starting to attack the back of Aaron Borg now. The TTR car, he goes down the inside. This should be a move done, although Borg pretty strong on the outside. He hangs around there. What a great bit of driving from Aaron Borg there against Aaron Oliver. And he holds position, so Borg of Trans-Tasman Racing stays in P10. Oliver stays for Penrite Palmer's Racing in P11. Welcome aboard tonight. It's like I said, a rush in to get things underway. And sorry we didn't get more time to intro things tonight. I was going to use the 10-minute warm-up to run through that. We didn't get there. We'll get on to that next week. Philsell, there he is, P2 behind Boyd. Hobson in behind. We can see those beautiful liveries now, and it looks like Hobson has he also got a bit of an alternate livery. It was just struggling to load in possibly. There it is, the Wave Runner entry comes straight onto the car now. So we've got both those paints finally updating, thanks Trading Paints. And you can see Boyd, Philsell, Hobson, Hughes, and Kasha top 5. Now, further back, this is the battle between Hughes and Kasha. And I did note last week a few people saying, come on, show some more of the battles down the pack, which we'll definitely do. Here's Jared Hughes getting a good old push along from Ryan here. Lee Harrison in behind. Then we fall back further to Wayne Losh, who's in the thick of things with Neville Mealy as well. G'day Ray Morgan, and Anzac Kids in the house. Med Chungus also in the house. Hello, welcome aboard tonight, and everyone over on Facebook as well. We've got Damien Seeger, Graham Ellis, and Darren Linus saying g'day. So welcome Get those comments in. We'll definitely get your friends and your family members who are out there racing plenty of airtime if you make some noise for them. So further back in the pack, this is Fenson. Don't forget that there's the two types of cars out there tonight. So we've obviously got the 86s, Toyotas. At the moment, Henry Fenson, who we're seeing right now, is running towards the back of the 86s. Then we hear the little buzzing noise behind, and well, that's some MX-5s coming through with, at the moment, Andrew Dutch, who's on screen now, leading the Grindtech Flooring Racing car. He's leading his class. So the top MX-5 at the moment is Dutchy, right there on your screen, followed by Scott Baker a little bit further back, Connors, and then we've got Harrison is then in 24th. He's in an 86, so they're mixed up. I think a lot of that's to do with that first lap melee that we saw on this first of two 30-minute races tonight. Back at the front, let's have a quick look at 4/10 of a second, nearly 5/10 of a second gap between Jack Boyd, Jared Philsell and Brenton Hobson. Shows how far back it is to Jared Hughes there. That gap is almost 4 seconds between third and fourth position. So down the pit straight, there you go. This is the battle for fourth place. You can see right up again, Kasha. Let's get him on board and enjoy a bit of this slipstreaming action on board the 86. We've been Hoonan is his team name. As we ride on board up through these beautiful S's. Getting your line right, so important. In these cars, a little bit underpowered for a big race circuit like this. We can see he's already having to back out of the throttle to allow this engagement with the back end of Jared Hughes. And then he starts to push. Now he gets a little bit of side action there. But make sure you don't unsettle the car. And Hughes is, I think, going to just let him go. And he thinks, right, Kasha, you can go out in front for a while. You can burn some fuel. And I'll just sit behind and enjoy a bit of your slipstream. Further back there, Cameron Edwards, and just seeing a bit of movement in the field. Oh, here, that was Dylan Canto. All out of shape. And hold on to it, Dylan. He's got a big swabber on, and he comes back on just behind Fenson and Dutch. So he's all out of shape for a moment there. That's actually Dutch trying to go around the outside in the MX-5. Wow. Obviously some different advantages for the different cars. The 86 is definitely ripping along in a straight line. They're very good. And got Andrew Dutch in the green room. Andrew, g'day, welcome aboard tonight. How you feeling, mate?
Hey Luke, how you going, mate? Feeling good at the moment, lead the race, but we'll see how this goes from here, mate.
Well, we put the pressure on you now. I saw you sitting in the green room and I thought, you know what, you're out there in the thick of things. Let's have a chat and see how it feels at this Watkins Glen circuit. Obviously in the MX-5, you're leading your class, P20 outright. Look at the big swapper then from Trappert in front. How was that?
Big tank slapper, put me under a bit of pressure, losing a bit of time to the car behind now, but yeah, nah, here's what it is, mate. Just got to try and let these Toyotas get a bit of a gap while holding position and hopefully keep the lead, mate. But I've got Scotty Baker breathing down my neck now, so anything can happen.
Yeah, Baker's a quick competitor, we know that. And let's go back to the front for a moment as Phil Sotis does a new fastest lap of the race, a 2:04.6. That gap now has grown out to 5 seconds between the top three and the next best competitor. In fact, they're already putting some laps on a couple of cars here. There's your next little battle pack. But where you are, Dutchy, you've put a car between yourself and Baker. Then you've got Jesse, who's been strong, not far back. This MX-5 battle is heating up, which is good to see.
Yeah, mate, I'm actually surprised I'm up here, to be honest. Jesse, Scott, Connors, all those boys were way quicker than me in practice. And, yeah, it came as a bit of a surprise to take pole, mate. But, yeah, like I said, under a bit of a pressure now coming at the bus stop. This is going to be interesting.
We'll have a look at you. So here we go. You're going to go around the outside. Oh, a bit of a bump. Bit of a bump.
Yeah, I've got to slow down from that.
So we're hearing all the action there. Let's go through the field once again. We'll go back to Ryan Kasha. So I know over on YouTube we've got our friend MedChungus7. He tunes in to watch a bit of Ryan Kasha. We've been hooning. He's been able to hold off Jared Hughes since that place was swapped. These guys running 4th and 5th. And Kasha started 3 places back. Now he's had that place. No, sorry, he's held that place. We've just had John Thorne, I think, maybe escaped the pit. So John just disappeared off the timing screen for a moment. Let's head further back to Anthony Connors, who's just put a move there on Reese in a stone cold racing car. He moves up into 24th place. So as I said last week and this week, if you've got someone out there you're following and you want me to give them a bit of airtime, just sing out. We've got Glenn Boyd well out of position tonight. Not sure what happened with Glenn. Maybe didn't qualify. He's up 12 spots into 27th. So the Boyd racing car, the 86, a fair way back, chasing Ray Harrison. But it's got a lot of work to do tonight. Some cars that made some good gains at the start. At the back, Aaron Maguire and Ruben Borst, who are well down the field. They're in 29th and 30th, but they've made up 10 positions apiece. So good to see them already moving their way up through the field. And Ann Cuthbertson's the next one behind them, also having a little bit of a lonely race. As we see pit stops already start, so interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. There were a lot of cars that stopped on lap 2, I think just to get out of the melee. And like I said, it was pretty chaotic at the start. We're expecting, one fuel stop again tonight, aren't we, Andrew?
Yeah, mate, one fuel stop. I think for the Mazdas, probably looking at about 7.6 litres. That should hopefully cover it. Yeah, I'll wait and see how that pans out towards the end of the race. Sitting in a tow of an 86 is good, saving fuel, but yeah, at the same time, in a bit of a battle here, so probably not saving too much, to be honest.
And as quickly, we'll have a quick look at the standings. It's probably a bit hard to read. Let's go to the big screen. There's the standings from the MX5s from round number 1. So you can just see that it is Jesse who took out the 150 points. No bonus points and no penalty points. So he did have the 10 incidents, so that must have balanced itself out. Scott Baker, P2, and then Darren Linus, your top 3 in that MX5 class. So it's good, isn't it? We've got 2 completely different types of cars out there, or different groups of cars running their own championships, and we're getting a grid of 48 cars. That's just mega.
It's a massive grid. It's really good to see, Luke. I actually was thinking to myself while sitting on the line there that it's going to be pure carnage at turn 1, but surprisingly it was well held together. Everyone respected each other, and I think that's what everyone wants, especially Greg, is just, the boys just to stay calm and realise it's a 30-minute race. You're not going to win it on lap 1, turn 1, so yeah, it was good to see.
I was actually surprised to see that many cars get through there with, only a couple of little grazers, so yeah, credit to the driving, credit to this series, and we'll hopefully chat with Greg a little bit later on. We'll have a quick look at him. He's down in 34th place, down 2 spots from where he started.
He said to send his apologies because he's going for the win, but I don't know how that's going for him right now.
So what's he, 9th in class at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on him. He's back in 34th outright. Bit of work to do behind Anth Cuthbertson at the moment, and he's got John Thorne not too far behind as well. There is Thorny in the 690 car, APTR Motor Racing, so Motorsports for that team. But yeah, it is good to see once again the big names back tonight, and we'll see probably the halfway point, I would say, the 15-minute mark, we'll see a lot of these top cars start to funnel in. And we saw it was it was Hobson, I think, last week that maybe tried an alternate fuel strategy coming in a lap earlier at Road America. It didn't seem to work out. They're so evenly poised, these cars. They're obviously a fixed setup, and they run them hard, and the top 3 aren't holding back. They're now 6 seconds clear of 4th place Ryan Casher, so incredible pace at the front of this race tonight.
Yeah, it seems like it up the front, Luke. Yeah, 6-second gap already is quite mighty. But those boys are in a class of their own. They're great in the sim world, so as I do a little crisscross manoeuvre.
Yeah, and we're looking at, the lap times quite comparable, about 2 seconds we're seeing between Jack Boyd's fastest lap in the 86. In fact, the fastest lap goes to Brenton Hobson, who's currently done a 2:04.57. The fastest MX5 we've seen tonight, as I just looked through them, is I think your lap with the 2:06.34. So pretty decent pace, and only 2 seconds on quite a long circuit, it's got to be said.
Yeah, as I just drove past a bit of an accident there. I'm surprised for a mid 2:06. I'm going to peel off into the pits now and try and get away from these 86s. So
we're just going to have a quick look at this incident for, I think it was Stephen Kennedy. So in the MX5, got a bit of lift off oversteer by the looks of things, and then ran wide, just touches the grass, and bang, bobs your uncle into the corner. and takes the whole front end off that MX-5. So I think that may have been the accident you went past. So a little bit of a crunch there for Steve Kennedy, unfortunately.
Yeah, he done well. He held his brakes, mate. So that's all you can ask of someone is when they hit the wall, so they don't bounce off.
That's it.
Into the road of another car.
We'll try and show more replays tonight. That was some feedback from last week that there wasn't enough replays. I've got to tell you why. It's because there was an error with the replay issue last week, so I couldn't do them, and I was a bit disappointed because I do like my replays, especially some crashes. So
yes,
we'll try and get more of those in tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that. But so far, it's been a lot of clean racing. This is the battle at the front of the pack. This is where some lap traffic may get involved, as sneaking down the inside there, Jack Boyd, and the lap traffic actually did a great job. Got right out of the way, hung to the right-hand side of the track, let the leaders through. So good job. But back with Damien Seeger now, who's just getting past Henry Fenson. This is for 18th position. They go wheel to wheel. You see this so much through this bus stop chicane here at Watkins Glen. The cars just fighting each other. And Aaron Borg, he's not too far behind. He takes advantage of Fenson getting a little bit sloppy on the exit of the chicane. He goes through. So Borg now up into 19th. Has stopped on lap 6. Took 10 seconds worth of fuel. So at the moment we're seeing the 86s take around that 8 to 10 seconds worth of fuel. And that'll be interesting when it plays out. That's on lap 6. We saw Fenson in on lap 4. He only took 4 seconds worth of fuel, so I'm thinking he's probably short fueled that wagon and might pay for that later on.
Yeah, that seems a bit odd. I think the boys were talking about 10 to 11 litres for the 86. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Okay, so back near the front, Ryan Casher once again. Jared Hughes all over the back of him, and Lee Harrison has now closed the gap as well. So good little, let's call it a secondary battle here as they continue to try and push. Here's a look out the back of Ryan Casher's car. You're going to see how close Hughes is. Well, there you go. We're looking at the firewall and the non-existent motor in the front of that 86. That's how close he is. So he's absolutely pinned to the back of that car and pushing him along. This is pretty good. Obviously, it doesn't unsettle the car too much. And from a graphical point of view, we're actually looking through the bumper bar there, but obviously in the real world, they just butt up to each other and you bend a bit of plastic. In the sim world, we actually push through into what must be the harder part of the car. But interesting that you can push that hard and doesn't unsettle the car in front. What sort of advantage does that give you, a bump draft? Does it push you like a couple of tenths quicker over a lap, or does it hinder the person behind? How's it work?
For me, I actually prefer not to do it. I had a bit of a bump draft going with, I think it was Aaron Oliver in practice, and for me, it puts me off too much. You tend to lose, or you can lose braking markers and everything like that, so I'd rather just back off a little bit in the toe, but yeah, it's a bit of a, I guess, a win-win situation. It does benefit.
It also runs the risk, though, of getting an X, which goes against you in this series. I mean, a series that really pushes towards clean racing. The last thing you want is an unintentional X.
That's exactly right, mate. I think sometimes you can get away if it's a light touch. It'll come up showing that, you've touched, but it'll give you a 0X, so you won't actually get the contact penalty. But, it's very, temperamental, I guess you could say. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, we'll just go back to the front for a little while. We're going to concentrate on this Boyd-Phil Cell battle. So this is what we saw last week to a huge extent between Boyd, Phil Cell and Hobson. And whilst we're showing these guys, let's just have a quick look on the big screen here at the championship points. So this is after round 1. You can just see there Brenton Hobson, who has the lead of the championship on 146. Followed by Jared Philsell, Jack Boyd, then Aaron Oliver and Mark Foster, your top 5. And it's Hughes, Moroz, cashing down in 8th place, Seeger and Boyd, Glenn Boyd, who's further down the order. So these points available on their website. You can go and view that. And big thanks to simracing.news for that link up, and obviously Greg for sending me the link prior to the broadcast tonight. So Jack Boyd out in front, then it's Philsell, Hobson, Casher still holding on from Hughes, Harrison, Moz, who's sitting back further in 7th place tonight. DC Racing driver has got himself a little gap at the moment between himself and Edwards and Cody Harrison. Dylan Canto further back in 10th place now. We've had Adam St. John, I think, had an incident here. Let's have a quick look at this one. see what's happened to Adam. He was by himself out there for the Stone Cold Racing B car. Nice livery with the beautiful yellow wheels standing out. He's just going to lose the back end and round she goes. So pretty easy, easy one, that one. Once the back goes, sometimes you just can't pin it back, and that's a good example of that. So back live, back with this battle for the lead of the race. We're going to jump on board for a moment and enjoy a bit of this fill cell action. We'll jump into some visor cam and see if we can't just ride maybe half a lap or so on board with Jared. So coming onto the pit straight, Boyd's actually gone into the pit lane, so that's freed up the track in front of him now. He can really concentrate on what's ahead. And as he comes down towards turn 1, you pick that braking zone. It's so important to get the car just to wash through there without taking too much speed off. You can see just ran wide, didn't run all 4 tyres over the exit curve there. That would have caused him an off track. Now up the hill once again. Don't lose any momentum. He holds that 4th gear. You can just hear the 4th gear almost on the red line now. Doesn't decide to grab 5th till it just gets to the top of the hill. And building the speed slowly, bit by bit. Hobson in his mirrors. You can actually see Hobson, look in the mirror there, right behind him, giving him a push. And now we start to get towards the boot and down the chute. You can just see this is the chicane. Bashes it over the curves whilst keeping a nice straight line as best you can through there. Keep it as straight as you can. Now you send it down the chute. Try and get this car tucked in. It wants to push wide. You're really putting a lot of pressure on the tyres through there. They're overheating. The left-hand side of the car getting a big old workout. Now we go and give the right-hand side of the car a workout as we go through the left-hander down into the boot. And you can see this braking zone here in particular, tough to get right. It feels very off camber on exit as you start to crest and go up the hill. In the mirrors you can still see Hobson behind pushing on, but that's on board with Jared Phil, so just to give you an idea of what it feels like in the car driving this fantastic iRacing sim, which if you haven't had a crack at it, go get yourself a membership and get into it. It is incredible. Let's go back further. Trappett still fighting here with Glenn Boyd, who's moved up into 20th now. So Glenn, after we'll have to try and find on the download what happened in qualifying, but started way down the order. Now finds himself, after losing a heap of positions at the start, climbing back up into 20th place. So a bit of a recovery drive for a man that is sitting 10th in the championship after round 1. And you know, you have a good first round. The last thing you want to do is come out and have a shocker in round 2.
There's no worse of a feeling than being down the back of the pack, mate.
We look in the pits now just quickly.
That feeling last week.
Yeah, that's it. In the pits quickly now, Phil Sell and Hobson coming together. And we want to keep an eye on Jack Boyd. He's just coming to the last couple of corners now. This is Jack, who pitted the lap earlier. Will this get him back into the lead of the race? So Boyd will be watching. Obviously, he'll have telemetry that tells him how long they're stopped for. But Hobson, I'll tell you, when he's off the jacks, he's just taking fuel now. 4 seconds worth in the car. 9 seconds it was for Boyd stationary. They've stopped there, stopped the clock. Phil Sell at 8 seconds. He's going to get out in front, I think, Jared Phil Sell. He's going to get out in front of Hobson, who I think may be in front of Jack Boyd, who's just coming through turn 1 now. This will be neck and neck as we exit the corner. And it's going to be Boyd behind Hobson. So there you go, a 9.6 second stop, stopping a lap earlier. Hobson with a 9.2 second stop, comes out just in front of Boyd. Phil Sell with the short stop, 8.18 seconds worth of fuel. Finds himself in the lead by a pretty good margin there, 1.8 seconds. And here goes Hobbo attacking Boyd. Obviously Boyd with the warmer tyres, and Boyd goes through now up into P2. So a good little bit of action there during that pit stop phase. What have we got? 7.5 minutes to go in the race. It is a time certain race, half an hour. Lap 11 at the moment of this race. Andrew Dutch we're looking at on screen. Also having the pleasure of chatting with him again tonight. Andrew still holding out the lead of Class B, mate. This is looking good for a win here. You've got a 3.58 second margin back to your closest competitor.
Yeah, mate, I just need to keep it clean and not have the same mistakes as I had last week. I'm sitting good in the toe of the 86s now, which is obviously helping extend that lead. So if I can keep on the back of these boys, I'll yeah, should be right as long as I don't muck up. Someone's going the wrong way. Yeah,
we see you there. Yeah, half a second shy of the back of Trappett. So that is obviously giving you a hand there, as I think it was Kennedy who had a crash earlier. We'll have another look. He's, I think, gone around as well. So here it is. Steve Kennedy down towards the chicane. His team name is the Mobile Chicane. Gets up on that ripple strip, round he goes. But I bet he's having a ball, and that's what we're about here as well. He might be having a few fluffs tonight, but he'd be absolutely loving it. So Steve Kennedy gets a turnaround, pointing back in the right direction. Let's go back to live and back with the leaders for a moment here. So yeah, it's good out there. Obviously, this is a highlight for a lot of the drivers in this league. You know, coming out here on a Monday night, Andrew, you'd love it. Something you look forward to all the weekend.
Yeah, mate, it kicks off the week really well. It's going to be a shame that after next week I'm going to be off for 3 months. So,
Yep.
Yeah, a bit disappointing, but yeah, no, it's good for a Monday night, mate. Good bunch of blokes. Have a yarn with the boys on Discord prior to the race, and yeah, it's just a real cruisy, relaxed Monday night.
Yeah, we're seeing Hobson now put the pressure back on Jack Boyd. Want to go diving further down the field, looking for battles. We haven't got a lot happening as far as cars, you know, within half a second of other cars, but this is Jesse at the moment trying to fend off Ray Harrison. Obviously, two different makes of cars here with the MX-5, trying to stay ahead here of Ray Harrison, who's in the Toyota 86. We find the straight line speed for the 86. What do you reckon the KPH's difference down the front straight, like down the pit straight? Would it be 5-6 k's per hour or more?
It'd probably have to be that, mate. I don't think it's too much, so it wouldn't be it wouldn't be over 10 k's per hour. Obviously, if you're in the tow in the MX-5, you tend to catch up to them really quick, so I wouldn't say it's too much at all.
No, looking good, righto. So this is Ray Harrison. We'll go back further. We've got Anthony Connors, the next in the order. He's 26th, up 5 position, but like I said, I want to try and give a few shout-outs to drivers that have made some gains tonight, and Aaron Maguire is one of them. He's up 10 spots into 29th, running a bit of a lonely one between Fenston and Holmes. You can see Greg in the background there, just chasing him down. But the 222 with a nice chrome front half of that car, nice livery on that car, holding steady at 29th place, and Greg about 5.7, no, that can't be right. It is 5.7 seconds behind, so it's actually not Greg you can see in the picture there. Greg's a long way back. There is Greg. So Ben Anth Cuthbertson's next in order. Then it's Hodges further back in 32nd place. Ruben Borst tonight, Optimal Gaming 2 is his team name. Up 7 spots into 33rd. And another driver to make up good position. Someone who we've seen last few seasons as well. Google in the Google car. I love it. 7-2 Racing currently running 34th, up 9 positions. So some nice driving, be it that they're not at the front of the field, they're still pushing hard, as we see Ray Morgan now overtaken by Philip Paradiso, who moves himself up into 37th place for KP Tech Racing. And that's a very, very pink 86 he's got there, very nice. Or purple maybe. Pinky purple we'll go with. Righto, let's go towards the front because we're getting now to the pointy end of this race. We're 26.5 minutes into a 30-minute race. As I just watched Moz there up over the curb, he's got Kasher and Harrison behind him, really giving the hurry up now towards the end of this race. They're just going for points, obviously. It's going to be a Phil Sell, Boyd or Hobson win at the front. In fact, at the moment, Phil Sell is looking very good with a 2.1 second margin. With what I'm predicting is probably this lap, and they may have to do 2 more. Just looking at the timing, obviously with a time certain race they have to cross the line. If it's before the 30-minute mark, they'll do an extra lap. So we should at least get this lap and then 2 more in for this race tonight. So we'll take it through to a 15 lapper. And a bit of lap traffic here also for Phil Sell. Just about to get in the way, and they get out of the way nicely as one car sticks it in the fence. Phil Sell says, right, I'll have nothing to do with that, and he goes past nicely. New fastest lap of the race, by the way, for Ben Snell. So Ben Snell all the way back in 18th place, just does a 2:04.2. Doesn't even look like he's in a draft there. He's just absolutely finding his form. He's got a pretty decent beard too, by the looks of that profile picture. That's a monster Ned Kelly style beard on Snelly. So doing good in the 1:41. Be it that he's back in 18th place, dropping 13 spots in the race. Definitely got some good form and pace in that car. So he will be looking forward to race 2, see if he can do a lot better. Don't forget, inverted top 8. So the top 8 at the moment, Jared Hughes will be sitting on pole, which will be pretty incredible. So and Phil Sell will drop back to 8th So that's just a new little thing they've brought in for Season 8, where they do invert the top 8. Made for some pretty crazy racing last week and really put some pressure back into that top 10, and makes these guys that have a bit of a walk at the park at the front work pretty hard to try and get themselves back onto the podium. How you going there, Dutchie?
I'm working up a massive sweat, mate. This is it's quite warm in Newcastle at the moment, mate. So yeah, no, I think you're right. 2 laps. There'll be 2 laps now. I've just crossed the start-finish line, so I think it'll be this one and then one more.
Yep. Yeah, it's hot here as well. I just noticed. Obviously, got to close the door in the studio here to kick off the broadcast. And gee whiz, I reckon it's gone up 10 degrees since I closed the door, and the computer's pumping away. Obviously, everything puts out some heat in the monitors, and it's not pleasant. Very humid again here in the Southern Highlands. We're not used to that sort of weather, so it's cooking. I wouldn't want to be driving like you guys. You guys would be absolutely sweating it up.
You can say that again.
Okay, so this. Go, mate.
No, I was going to say, not sweating as much as I was before, mate. Got a bit of a breathing room now, so yeah, it's quite handy.
Jack Boyd is still under pressure here for P2 on the podium, and Hobson will maybe leave it till the last lap to give it a shot. Maybe he'll head up towards the chicane, try and get a nice draft and push his way through. But he's just sitting back. I mean, how many times have we seen Hobson and Boyd fight it out over the seasons that we've been with the Roadster Rumble? And I think they're going to have to give up on fuel cell here, as the white flag does drop 1 to go. But I don't think anyone's going to catch Jared at the front. I think it's going to be a chance now for Hobbo to try and just get P2. Those extra few points. Aaron Oliver also fighting with Aaron Borg, who's really impressed me tonight. Aaron Borg has been fast for Trans-Tasman Racing. He's going to have his work cut out for him too, because Oliver, I think these guys have been scrapping since lap 1. So the two Aarons, Penrite Racing and Trans-Tasman Racing, having a good old ding-dong, and they're not finished yet. They're going up the hill side by side. Just in front is Aaron Oliver, and a mega battle for these two. Cody Harrison too, further back. He's chasing down Matty T on the last lap. Might try and get him, might not. Cameron Edwards, another one who's chasing down Dylan Canto. Canto's up into 15th now at 5 positions. Good drive through this race. Cody Harrison ahead of them, up 7 into the top 14. But let's go towards the front, because it's all happening now between Boyd and Hobson on this final lap of the race. Phil Stell's checked out, 2.3 up the road. You can see the white car in the foreground. But these two wheel to wheel. Boyd should have the inside line. He does now. Hobson hangs on the outside. Let's jump on board with Brenton Hobson. What's he going to do? He's going to need to find some magic here. They run up the hill towards the toe, and what's the gap? It's just on 0.3 of a second. Still closed down. Under brakes. Here we go. Hard on the brakes. Bit of a wobble there for Boyd. Doesn't have far to go on the lap. You can see Phil Sell up the road. Can he sneak a bit of a toe just to assist him? One of the hardest corners on this racetrack, this double left-hander. Tip it in, try and keep off the curb. That was so smooth from Hobson. He did a mid-gear change halfway through the corner. But it's going to come down now to the final couple of corners, and I think Boyd is going to hang out. I think he's going to take this one. But put your hands together for Jared Philsell at the front in the Wave Runner car. He takes the checker flag in race 1 of this 2-race evening for season 8, round number 2. It is Philsell taking it to the line. Jack Boyd takes P2 from Brenton Hobson. That's a fantastic race. Ryan Casher goes to the line. He'll take P4 ahead of Neville Melly. So well done. Neville Mell, sorry, it looks like an eye on my screen. I'll tell you what, I've been looking at a computer screen for 12 hours already today, and everything looks a bit blurry to me, but Neville Mell done a great job. Up 6 spots into the top 5. Jared Hughes gets 6. Lee Harrison comes home 7th ahead of Aaron Borg and Aaron Oliver. Those guys went to the line 8th and 9th, and Damien Seeger rounding out your top 10. We look back further to the battle for the MX-5s, and it's going to be Andrew Dutch. Give us a big woohoo, mate. You're going to come across the line here, 6.3 seconds clear of Scotty Baker.
Virtual wave, mate. Nice big virtual wave.
Very nice. Checker flag drops for Class 2 MX-5s tonight, and it is a win for Andrew Dutch ahead of Scotty Baker. Takes P2, and it's going to be Ray Harrison just behind him. Takes, oh sorry, that's out of position there. It's actually Jesse who takes P3 in class. And nice drive there from Jesse, up 1 spot in the 777 to get 3rd in class for this first race tonight. So race 1 run and done. We'll get some results up for you shortly on the screen, and we'll have some more conversation. Thanks for joining us once again for that one, Andrew. We'll obviously chat to you in a minute. We'll get some results up first, though.
No worries, mate.
Results coming up on the screen right now, and there is your Group A winners from race 1 tonight. Jared Philsell for Lobs, Falcon Racing, 2.4 seconds clear of Jack Boyd and Brenton Hobson. Nothing in it between those two, and quite a gap back to Ryan Casher, who took 4th, and Nibble Mel rounding out your top 5. We go to Group B then, our MX5s. That was the 86s. The MX5s was a winning class for Andrew Dutch. 6.1 seconds clear of Scott Baker, Jesse Carriage, and then it was Anthony Connors and Greg Holmes who fought his way back up into 5th, and then it was Cuthbertson, Hodges, Borst, then Gogol, and Maguire down there finishing in 10th place. So nice job for race number 1. And what's the plan now in the next couple of minutes? Dutchy, do you just have a drink, go to the bathroom? What's the warm-up time used for, mostly for you?
That's pretty much it, mate. Toilet break if needed. Just have a drink and have a rest, mate.
Hey, what would the average age be for this series, do you reckon?
Oh,
just take a stab.
Oh, take a stab at it. Let's go. I'll go my age, mate, 35.
Oh, that's a young fella, mate. It's funny. I done some series before. You have odd series where they'll have no breaks at all, and you have other ones that need a couple of toilet breaks. And I always think, I wonder what the average age of the series is when they need a couple of toilet breaks.
It's definitely nice having a break in between, mate. Obviously the feet get a bit tender after half an hour of racing, and the arms get a bit sore, so it's nice to just have 10 minutes off and have a breather.
Are we going to get Greg in tonight? Is he coming in for a chat, or is he just going to not come and talk to us?
He said he wanted to win, but I think I could jump over to the other Discord, mate, and entice him over if you like.
We might go and we might see if we can grab a couple of the others in. Do you want to go and see if you can get Keith and Scott and maybe Michael, see if they want to come in for a quick chat in the break?
Yeah, mate, I'll jump over and see who I can scrounge up for you.
See if we can drag them all over. I was going to do it, but you go have a quick chat to them first, see if they're happy to have a quick talk.
Righto, mate.
So it's break time here. We've got a 10-minute warm-up session where the drivers get a chance just to chill out for a little bit. We're going to send Andrew over to try and just get some people for a quick interview. But some good racing. Watkins Glen, what a circuit. It is incredible. We do have a flyover, which I'll quickly load up for you so you can have a quick look at this Watkins Glen circuit from the air in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's a pretty place, I've got to say. It's a very pretty place. And this is what it looks like, set out in the countryside, obviously, and that circuit shape really does take shape when you're up here in the Spitfire looking down. And you can pick out the shape, you can pick out the fast spots, you can pick out the slow spots. And we're going to have a chat with a couple of people right now. In this break time, we've got Brenton Hobson with us, mate. That was a pretty good race in race 1. How are you feeling tonight?
Hey, Luke. Yeah, not real fast, actually. Struggling a little bit this week. I was a bit unorganised and just jumped on at the last minute and didn't have immediate pace. So, yeah, a bit of a drama to find some speed, but that was all right. We stayed out of trouble and didn't quite get it right at the pit stop. Jared managed to skip away, but had a good race with Jack, especially on the last lap. And we'll try and do a little better this time with an invert.
Yeah, it was tight between you guys. But Jared, mate, tell us about the fuel saving there. You took about, I think, a second or a second and a half less fuel on board in that stop. Did that all come down to just some fuel saving throughout the first part of the race? How did that work out?
Yeah, we just let Jack punch the hole. Yeah, just use him for fuel, basically. I wasn't quite sure how much we would jump him by, because I'm not quite sure with the refuel rates in this car. So yeah, it was turned out to be quite a bit. So yeah, 1 litre less I took than Hobbo, and I jumped him by almost a second. So yeah, I think fuel saving is very crucial if you want that track position.
The trick's out of the bag now, mate. Are we going to see maybe some of that, like you see in the cycling where the leader doesn't want to lead, and we see a bit more of that where you just sort of drop back and, try and let the others, like you say, push that hole through the air?
Yeah, I'm not leading this race until late. That's my plan.
That's very good. Well done for race 1. Damien, how are you feeling tonight, mate? Good to see you jump in for a quick chat as well in this break between races.
Yeah, you go, Luke. How you going? Yeah, thanks. Feeling okay. I'm not overly quick on this track, but the fuel might have stitched a few of the boys up there about mid-race. A lot of them backed out, but I reckon the fuel strategies might be a little bit better for race 2.
What don't you like about this race circuit? Because it is a fast-flowing circuit. I mean, it's a staple, I think, of most racing games, and it has been for a long, long time. Is there anything in particular you don't like?
Yeah, not really. I think it's just one of those tracks, how you just have a nemesis, and the nemesis is this track for me. I just can't seem to get it right. Although it's okay when you're sitting behind somebody, but when I'm by myself, I'm a little slow. But it's just one of those tracks, Luke, I think.
And what about you, Hobbo? Is this one of your favourites? You would have been playing this one for 20 years?
Thanks, mate. And the rest, eh?
And the rest.
I don't mind it. I mean, it's good. It's good fun because of the draft factor. For how it's so heavily draft centric, this place, that the racing's pretty good. But the car's very, like the 86 is very unsettled, particularly in the boot section. So the braking's difficult, and the car tends to, it's either understeer or oversteer. There's not really a nice balance in the middle this week. So the car's a little tricky to drive, which, it's pretty easy to come unstuck. I did it last week when it wasn't that hard to drive. So we'll do our best here, but the track itself is good fun. Just don't want to goof up here, especially having to try and make our way through a few cars at the start. Could be some drama.
And a question to all of you. I mean, I'll go. I think we've got Moz here as well. Hello, Moz. He snuck in. Is it something you think iRacing need to fix in the stability of this car? Because in the real world series, you don't tend to see them, losing the back end and having those big slip and slides. They seem a lot more stable in real life.
I'm probably not really qualified to talk about it because I've never driven anything like it in real life. But there is a few guys in here who have in the series, so it'd be interesting to get their thoughts about it. But it's tricky. I don't know if it's the setup or if it's the car itself or what. I haven't driven it outside of this series, but it's certainly tricky.
And inverted top 8 again this week. So what's the plan there? You're going to have a bit of overtaking to do. We've got some fast guys. I noticed Aaron Borg was having a good old crack with another Aaron out there. I think Aaron Oliver, was it? They were absolutely tearing it up. They're going to be right up there near the top of this race.
I think that they got split. One of them made the invert, one of them didn't. So we'll see if they end up back together. But it's one of those ones with the draft, is the way it is, that anyone can be in amongst it. They just got unlucky at turn 1 on that last race with Ben had a moment. So we managed to break away. But I think you'll see a big pack of cars. It'd be hard to get away from people. So yeah, it'd be difficult to get to the front cleanly, especially. See what happens.
And to the boys that are doing the Pro Invitational, how is it dropping? You're in this car on a Monday, and then I presume you're both jumping over on Wednesday night to have a run in the supercar again as well. What's it like having to chop and change like that?
Me and Jared are already locked in for the series, so we don't have to go through the qualifiers. But anyone who is doing that, it wouldn't be an easy car to jump between.
For sure. Right, we're going to have a quick chat to Greg because he's just slipped in. Greg, I heard you were busy trying to win that one. Didn't go to plan, mate, but once again, a big night of racing. You've got 48 cars on the grid. Testament to you putting this series together, mate. It's huge. How's your impression so far of race 1?
Very hectic, especially when you spin on lap 1, Luke. You've got a lot of overtaking to do to get back up into the mid pack, but no, it's fantastic. I'm really grateful to everyone for jumping in, and especially our sponsors. Simworx have jumped on board this season, helping us out immensely with some gear for some of the boys. Palmer's, as always. My wife is actually watching the stream tonight and just gave me some coaching tips.
Very good.
But no, it's fantastic. I hope the broadcast is going well.
It is, mate. You almost caught me out with that no 10-minute warm-up at the start, though.
What, between the races?
No, between quali and the race.
Oh, no, so iRacing won't let me do it. I've tried and tried, but it just won't let me.
Did we do it last week? I thought we did last week.
No, I'll send you a copy of all the emails backwards and forwards with iRacing.
It just goes to show how loose I am tonight. Jeez, I didn't even notice. But mate, it was a cracker to watch for you. I'm trying to share it out. I know you probably saw. I like to take some feedback on board. Last race was the first one back for a while, and trying to show many battles throughout the field tonight and encourage people to get on and cheer their buddies on. But it was good and encouraging to see good battles right down to 30th, 40th position. So I am trying to cover everything in these races tonight, even though we've got these mega battles up the front. I think it's a fair go to give everyone a bit of airtime.
Oh, you do a fantastic job, mate. It's very hard when you've got such a big field, and no, look, the boys just love. I think the fact that you do such a great job is why everybody wants to be on the broadcast. That's testament to the job that you do, because there's a lot of people watch it. So I'm going to stick with you for this race. I'm going to see if I can catch Dutchy and take him out.
Very good.
Good luck, mate.
Right, let's run through the grid then, because we are about to grid up to kick off race 2, the final race for the evening. And it's going to be Aaron Borg who has jagged that pole position. So Borgie at the front. He'll start alongside Lee Harrison. And it's Jared Hughes and Neville Neal off the second row of the grid. Then we've got Kasha and Hobson, 5th and 6th. Jack Boyd and Jared Filso rounds out that inverted top 8. Aaron Oliver and Seagar around at the 10. Aaron Oliver has been impressive tonight as well. Like I think it was Jared that said they split those two with the inverted 8. Then we've got Matty T and Dylan Canto in 11th and 12th place. And right down this big field of cars, we're going to see them get underway shortly. So hold on to everything, Greg. Let's see if you can win this one. You've got a very fast Andrew Dutch, a few cars in front of you, and he's been impressive tonight, not only commentating while he drives, but winning race 1.
Yes, we might have to sandbag him next week.
Right, so here we go. 40. What have we got? 48 cars again. Huge field of cars about to get underway. Watch for the smoke from the tyres as we get the green light here at Watkins Glen. And we are off and racing about now. There it is. The green light comes on. Big start. Heaps of wheel spin there on the second row. And I tell you what, it's a lone car at the front. Someone I don't think gridded up there, did they or not? We've got Borg, Hughes. Kasha makes up a position down the inside, quite forceful. And then you've got Hobson, Boyd and Philsell all holding position. No one made any changes there. It was Dutch very wide in the background, going over to say good day to the fans. As we go 3 wide, we got a spinner. Oh, and he held on to it. That was Scott Baker. Now he puts it in the fence. This could be carnage because he's come back across. He's in the middle of the racetrack down there. We've got cars splitting either side. And luckily, it wasn't a huge dust-up. He's still got one more to come through as he spins it around and gets going again. But that was huge. And luckily, it wasn't too much of one of those race-ending incidents that can sometimes take out half the field. So pretty lucky there as Ben Snell has put it off the track at the bus stop, way out of contention there. He's going to drop probably back to last. Went so far off the racetrack. A little bit of a mini replay of that spin as they went up the hill as we watch Aaron Borg at the front from Hughes. And Ryan Kasha made up 2 spots. Jack Boyd made up 3 positions already into the top 4. There's the spin bottom of your screen. Gee whiz, they did well to avoid that. That could have been carnage.
Oh,
and,
another one.
We've got another spinner, do we? Down the order, it's Reese. Big crash there. Up on the fence, and then there's another one in the air. And I think in the foreground there was the 55s hit the wall. That's Graham Ellis. Unfortunately, he's damaged. And looks like he'll take no further part in this race. And the car backwards was Mark Foster, who now goes back to the pits. So Foster goes back, resets himself, and unfortunately that takes him out of race 1 as well. On board with Aaron Borg, though, looking back, he's got a train of cars behind him. The first one in that train is Jared Hughes, Whitbean Hoonan. Got 2 Whitbean Hoonan cars now in the top 3. So the Whitbean Hoonan guys, look out, we'll get Tracy Gilmore onto these ones. Grimshaw, sorry, Tracy Grimshaw. She'll be after these hoons before you know it, but here we go. We've got Kasha and his teammate. Will they work together here, or are we going to see a dust-up between the TTR car and the Wee Been Hooning car? It's the TTR car P2 now. Wee Been Hooning of Jared Hughes to the lead, on board with Ryan Casher. He's got Jack Boyd right beside him. In fact, you can just see the shadow as they go up the hill. We'll stay on board here with Casher. Boyd's trying to force his way to the inside, and he gets alongside now. This is wheel-to-wheel racing at its best. Behind them, you've got Brenton Hobson, Lee Harrison, Jared Philsell is up into 7th now. They're all in this still a tight bunch. We thought the first race was exciting. This second race is next level as we now sneak into the bus stop. It's going to be Boyd just ahead of Casher and Hobson. Let's jump on board with Hobbo because he's getting the best view in the house of this battle in front. He's probably thinking with all his experience, he's going to sit back here and just watch what unfolds. Will he see a couple of them exit and be able to sneak through and get a couple of 2-for-1 deals? He looks to the inside now as we head down the chute. He doesn't put it in there though, he just holds back. He's got Harrison to worry about behind him, and then Philsell and Oliver. So crazy start. Andrew Dutch leads the MX5 Group B. Further back, you can see the field spread. Not that big just yet. Jesse Carey's got P2 in class, and Anthony Connors at the moment P3. Then it's Greg Holmes, who's sitting back in 21st outright, 4th place in class. There he's on the screen. Greg, mate, 2 laps done. I feel like we've just done half a Le Mans here. This has been flat out.
Oh, mate, it's crazy. I don't know how I got through half of those incidents, but we survived. I think I'm going to employ you as my spotter next week. So it certainly helps when you get some warning that there's carnage ahead.
Oh, mate, it's one of the hardest things, I reckon, in this sort of pack racing, if you want to call it that, is when one car goes around up the road, you just can't see. And, you know, you get on the brake and then all of a sudden someone center punches you from behind. You try your best to do the right thing, but sometimes it's best just to close your eyes and try and make it through. Hobson in the pits. How about that for a left of centre one? Brenton Hobson's gone in the pits on lap 3 as Hughes does a 2:05 fastest lap of the race. So Hobbo is going for something very, very different here tonight. That's interesting. Andrew Dutch, very, very quiet. I reckon he's got the head down here. He's trying to get himself in behind Keith Logan to sneak a toe. But Dutchy, what's going on, mate? You're very quiet there. You're concentrating hard.
Yeah, got the teammates behind me, Connors and Jesse. So just trying to stay in this toe and not rear end poor Keithy.
It's great to see Keith out there racing once again tonight. He's 338. He's sitting in 16th place and went for the 86, so has been in the MX5s for a long time, but jumped into the 86, and he'll be enjoying himself. I love this Southern Cross Racing livery, especially so close to Australia Day. It's good to see that out there, proud and loud. It's a great livery on that car.
Yeah, it looks quite nice from the back, the blue, yellow and a bit of green.
That's where he'd like to keep you too, I reckon. Glenn Boyd at the moment. We're just watching Glenn. Does the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap. He's now up 3 spots into 14th. I said I wasn't sure why he lost out so many positions at the start of race 1. And he made the evening very hard for himself, but he is on the fight back. So Boyd on the back of Wayne Losh, and then you've got Cameron Edwards ahead of him just up the road. And then look at this battle pack with Seeger. I think Lee Harrison's in there as well. Harrison, Seeger, Canto. We got a spinner, have we?
No, he held on to it.
That was Jesse a bit further back, going for a slide. But we'll just go back to this battle because I'm intrigued. It's Aaron Oliver leading this little train. Driver at the caboose is Matty T. And then in between you've got Harrison, Mel, Seeger, who Mel goes in the pits actually. Probably good thinking with such a little aggressive battle going on. Just get out of there. And we've got to keep an eye. I'm going to have a quick look. Brendan Hobson comes out in 30th position. So all the way down in 30th. So we'll have to watch his pace here and where he comes out at the end of the night. You know, you throw all the laundry in, you spin around 1,000 times, and who comes out the cleanest, we're going to find out. Luke K says, I got a DC in race 2, caught up in a crash first race, but still so much fun and clean racing. Good to hear you're enjoying yourself, Luke, and unfortunate about the DC in race 2, mate. But yeah, good to hear you're enjoying the series. We've got 4 new drivers tonight, Greg. Good to see drivers coming along and wanting to get involved.
So Lockie Bloxham is actually a Toyota 86 driver. He's gone up to Porsches this season, so another one that's got some real life experience.
Yeah, he's one of the We've Been Hoonin' crowd, and they're quick, aren't they, these guys? So obviously if you can drive a Porsche, or someone lets you drive a Porsche in the real world, you're going to have some skills behind you. Takes more than just some cash to get yourself in one of those. So he looks good out there at the moment. He's up 9 positions in race 2. He's behind Cody Harrison, gives a big dive down the inside, and that's job done. In fact, that's a very, very real-world overtake manoeuvre, that one. He just sent it down the inside when he saw a gap. So that experience coming through. But we've got Mark Foster joining us as well. Hi, Mark. You just snuck in.
Hey, Luke. How are you, mate?
Good. What's going on tonight, mate?
Oh, I'm out of race 2, unfortunately, so I just sort of pop in to say hello.
Yeah, did we have a crash we missed? I'm going to go back and have a quick look.
Yeah, with Reese.
Fun. Yeah, Reese lost it, I think, 10 to about turn 8, and then took me out, and I managed to take out half the field, but I didn't have my fast repair ticked, so 20 minutes fast repair for me.
Oh man, here's a replay now. We'll have a quick look, show the fans out there. So this was, that was the big hit that we saw going down the chute. So that was huge. And you were like you got beat up by everyone for that, 20 seconds, didn't you? Everyone came through and gave you a little bit of a tap.
Oh, it's nice to be wanted, so, but yeah, that was it for me, unfortunately.
Well, you're giving us a full 360 view of the car here and the work that's been done by RSing to detail this 86. So if nothing else, mate, that's a nice little showcase you've given us there.
Yeah, it gets the sponsors on TV at least.
Oh, it's unfortunate that you're out, but good to have you pop in for a chat. Mate, you're loving this. Well, season 8, you've been in here for a while, haven't you? What season did you start racing?
I think season 2 I came in. Season 2 or season 3. Yeah, I love it here. It's great. I'm loving the 86. It's great fun. A really, really good little car.
Oh, hang on a sec. We've got a spinner at the front. It's Ryan Casher. How did he hang on to that? That is an incredible hold. Ryan Casher, I tip my hat. We're going to have to show that on a couple of replays, I think, because this bloke has just pulled off a remarkable crash that I think 9 out of 10 other people would have put that in the fence. We'll try it first of all on the, see if we can go small screen here and have a quick look, but I'll hopefully have captured that in a full screen replay as well. So it was through the bus stop chicane. Just watch Casher in the, well, let's call it a black front car with red sides. He got a big swapper on, came across the track and then somehow held onto it. And we'll just see if we captured that full screen, because it's definitely worth watching again. Here it is. So that's just the end of it there. I'll just take it back a little bit, because check out the attitude of this car and how well he did. That was at full lock, one way or the other. So we'll slow it down. Look at this. The big tank slapper there as he gets up over the curb, and that's one, that's on the limit. You can't get any more sideways than that for Ryan Casher. And he hoons his way straight back across the front of Jared Philsell. Can't wait to ask Philsell about that later. That would have been a huge moment. In fact, we'll see if we can't see that on board from Philsell's car, because that's going to be one of the best ones we've seen, I think. And we'll keep this one for the highlight reel. So this is what it looked like from on board Philsell. Check this out. Huge from Casher, so incredible racing, and good job at the front. That could have been a huge incident. So Aaron Borg leads this race. We're back live now, lap 6, almost 11 minutes into this 30 minutes, second race of the night. But Mark, mate, even being out of the race, this is where you can probably help a couple of your mates out being a spotter.
Well, that's it, yeah. I mean, like I'm a team of 1, so I'll just help out a little bit with the admin team, which is good fun. Yeah, like just watching that off Cash and just then it just shows the difference between the guys at the front and the rest of us, noobs at the back.
Oh, mate.
I can guarantee I would have been into the wall 10 times over. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you might save it going one way, but the way he saved it coming back on as well, that's next level.
Yeah, it was very impressive. They're good to watch.
Yeah, so we've got a pretty good battle. In fact, the top 5, only 1 second splitting them. I do want to drop back a bit further to Lockie Bloxham, who's back in 18th place. Now he's got Cody Harrison. This little battle's 17th, 18th and 19th. Cody Harrison. It's got Anth Cuthbertson behind him as well in the MX-5. So, and Greg, I think you're just ahead of this little battle. So you can probably see in your relative that Lockie, who's about, 6 seconds back up the road, he's got a train of cars with him. So you've got to keep them at bay, because if he starts knocking on your door, you're going to have 6 blokes knocking on your door.
What I need is for Henry Fenson to keep it on the black stuff, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, we're looking at Henry now. So the Fenson Brothers racing car is obviously Fenson brothers. Where's the other Fenson?
He used to race with us. A couple of times they've sort of thought about coming back, but Henry's been with us for probably 3 or 4 seasons now.
Yep. Yeah, he's always a good competitor. We were watching Darren Linus back in 31st. I want to show a couple of the movers and shakers, as we always tend to do. And one of them is this bloke right here, Andrew Roberts, Frog Leap Racing. He's a bit lonely out there. Not many cars around him, but he's up 13 spots in the race. And that's a pretty decent effort. He's got a bit of a hit in the back of that bumper bar as well. So he's copped a bit of loving somewhere there.
So I'm going to take credit for that one, Luke. I jumped in a session with Andrew yesterday.
Yep.
Gave him some pointers on what he could fix, and to his credit, he sort of stuck with it, and hopefully he gets the result in
Nice.
In race 2.
Yeah, we're back with the front, mate. We've got to quickly jump back here because I just see my relative was lighting up with very close racing, and Phil Sell's worked his way into second now. We wouldn't expect anything less. He's got Jack Boyd in front. Kasha is driving the wheels off that 86 in P3. Every time I cross over to him, and the bloke's sideways, absolutely loving it tonight. But I've got a feeling if they let Phil Sell get through here, he's going to do what he did in race 1, pull a couple of seconds lead, which is just too impossible to get back. The man I am watching for very, very closely, though, is Brenton Hobson, back in 18th place. Now, he did a 2:05.7 last lap around, and that's 2/10 off the pace of the race leader. So it's I'm not sure that lap 3 pit stop has worked for Hobbo tonight. But I do love that you've rolled the dice. We love the odd dice roller, don't we, Greg?
Oh yeah, always. I'm going the other way this time. I'm actually staying out, but I might pit this lap actually.
There's Damien Seeger putting some pressure too on Aaron Oliver. Both of these drivers up 3 spots tonight. Glenn Boyd's worked his way back into 9th. So there you go. That's what I'm talking about. He was down in 20th, I think, in race 2. He's just kept chipping away. He's up 8 positions in the second race tonight after a shocker in race 1. And, you know, that's why blokes like this all always end up in the top of the championship points, because they can be down and out, but they still chip their way back over a round to get themselves some good points. So, you know, it's the old saying, you're never out until it's over, and he has not given up from the get-go tonight. So, you know, that's Glenn Boyd, the older of the 2 boys out there in P9. Good driving. And the young one at the front has got one of the best races in sim racing all over him right now, as Phil Sell and Ryan Kasha put the bumpers to bumpers and push along. In fact, this is a 3-way here down the back straightaway. We've got an 86 centipede going on with 3 of them: Jack Boyd, Phil Sell, Kasha. Borg's watching on in the background saying, this is intense. What have I signed myself up for here? Borg's thinking, oh, what is this series? What's going on? Cracking racing.
It's crazy how much this league just seems to keep on growing. Quite a few times I thought to myself, it wouldn't be bad to have a bit of a break, but I think while we're on a bit of a hot streak, we may as well keep it going.
Yeah, and you're seeing some, I mean, this TTR is such a staple name in sim racing. To see a car out there in that livery just goes to show, you know, you're drawing in big names, you're drawing in big teams. It's such a good series to be a part of. And I think we gave it a bit of a rap last week too, saying you can still get involved. And I think you said the best way to do that is just to come along and jump into some practices. You know, get to know some people. Obviously, it's a pretty full league with 48 competitors starting tonight, but you know, get out there, do some practicing, get to know some of the drivers, and all of a sudden you find yourself racing against, you know, some of the best sim racers we've got in the country, and in my opinion, one of the best leagues. So yeah, get out there and do practices. You obviously throw up some fun races too. Did I see was it a Formula V or something the other night? You threw up a you know, let the hair down on a Wednesday night sort of race.
The skippies.
That's it, the skip barbers. That would have been exciting.
Oh, that was at the new VIR track. You know, the one that's now free, and yes, it was a bit of carnage in that, but good fun.
I bet. It's awesome. Lockie Blonsum here, or Bloxham. Am I saying that right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, he's just still getting the pressure here off Cody Harrison. They're up 19 and 21 spots between them. Cody Harrison has got a ripper exit out of the final corner there. In fact, maybe that's a dress rehearsal for the last lap if he needs to run to the line, because he almost did. In fact, he did get ahead of Blomson across the line there. So just goes to show you can sneak down that inside line and get a good run to the flag. But you know, they're having a great battle back in 12th place, while the front still continues to rage. I do want to drop back a little bit further back to this one. Tyson Gordon, 28th place, fighting with who is it? Dave Golgol's just behind him, but he's got Ray Harrison in front, 28th place. And we're seeing this mixture of cars, and this is something that, Greg, we did touch on last week, but even though you've got two different cars out there, we're seeing a lot of this racing between them. You're seeing MX-5s having heated battles with 86s and vice versa.
Yeah, the little Mazda is... the last couple of updates has really brought it back. I mean, it's amazing. Guys jump out of the 86 back into the Mazda and go, oh, it's horrible. It's loose. It's all over the place. But man, it's so much fun to drive.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's I always think of when I first got iRacing, there was this awful, I think it's a Spec Racer, is that what it's called?
Yes,
I nearly asked for a refund after having to drive that car for a few races, and then I got into the MX-5 and I went, hang on, this is actually good. No idea why they put me straight into a Spec Racer. But yeah, the MX-5 was the first thing I did in iRacing after that Spec Racer, and I was like, wow, this thing you can drive like a real car. It slides, it behaves correctly, as we see Jack Boyd jump in the pits, Kasha, Borg, Harrison all jumping into the pits now. Phil Sell stays out. The master of saving fuel stays out for another lap. So it's a pit party in behind that. Trappett's coming in as well, I think, from P9. He's up 10 positions. So Paddy comes in. So yeah, it's a massive pit party. And Phil Sell, not only is he fast, he has got this knack of saving fuel, and he can do an extra lap here at the 19-minute mark.
Yeah, we found in race one there was a fair discrepancy in the amount of fuel that the Toyotas were using. A few of us took 11 litres, a few took 10 litres, and I had to refuel with 1 lap to go, even with 11 litres, because I just couldn't make it. So the tow is, if you're in a train, you can actually save a little bit of fuel as well, which does help.
So so is it just the train that discrepancy is coming from, or do you think it's to do with how much you use your right foot as well and how smooth you are in this car?
Look, I always use a little bit more fuel than most, because that's just the way I drive.
Got the big size 12s on, mate. Big size 12 right boot.
I just don't know how to pull off it. Yeah, look, I took 11 litres and still pitted on the last lap and took 2 more litres and just made it, where others took 10, I believe.
Right.
And made it. So Loshi took 11 and coughed over the line. So I think these train and these guys really sitting on each other's toe will make a bit of a difference.
Yeah, it's definitely something Jared said. He said you don't want to be the one pushing the hole in the air. And as I look down the fuel numbers for the fuel stop there, Jack Boyd took 8.4 seconds worth of fuel, 9.4 for Ryan Kasha, who's behind him. But Ryan has basically been driving that car like it's a speedway car tonight, a 410 sprint car. He's been sideways everywhere. Lee Harrison took 9.3 and then 10.4 for Aaron Borg. Then you got Brenton Hobson, who made that very early stop, 8.9. So just goes to show, I think there is a lot of fuel saving built into some of those drivers that take less fuel. They have to drive to a number, and a lot of them with experience do know how to do that very well.
Yeah, it's something I'm not very good at, and I don't know how they could save that much fuel. I think I was using about 2.1 litres a lap, so if they're using under 2 litres, that's impressive. We'll see how long Phil Sell goes in the pits for now. Yeah,
he's in there now, so he's just trundling down the lane past all the broken wrecks of cars that have not made it to the finish line tonight.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all sitting there, and we'll just see. He's in the pits now, 5 seconds stationary. Jack Boyd just coming down the pit straight away. So it might be pretty close, actually. We'll have a look from the chopper cam, and we'll see. Phil Sell jumps off the jacks at 8.5 seconds now. 8.4 it was for Boyd. There is Phil Sell just coming out of the pit lane now. It's going to be neck and neck up the hill. And that little Mazda of, I think that might be Baker, is it? Oh, as Phil Sell just gets in there. So there we go. We've got Jared Phil Sell just ahead of Jack Boyd. But Jack Boyd is going to get a mega run here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Phil Sell wasn't balked slightly by the Mazda. And that got him out of the throttle slightly. And this will give Jack Boyd a better run. Let's jump on board. And he has now, setting it up. Oh, there's an overlap there and a bit of contact. I was going to say Jack almost got enough overlap to then warrant owning the entry to the bus stop, but he's just held back. Gee, Phil Sell was close to the wall there as well. They don't leave much margin for error, these blokes. And then down the chute we go. So Kasha on for a podium, sitting in third, watching intently as these two in front race with just on 7.5 to go. So it's going to heat up as we look further down. Trappett, Connors, and I think it might be yourself, Andrew, in a bit of a battle here as well.
Very big battle, mate. Connor's breathing down my neck.
Yeah, we'll jump on board with you and have a look out the back. There he is. So this is for class win at the moment. So Andrew Dutch, who's joined us in the studio once again with Greg, and it's good to have Mark Foster here as well. But Dutchy, mate, the pressure is on. Now, you don't have to talk if you don't want to, because I'd hate to see you flop this whilst you're live on air.
Make him talk.
He likes the crack under the pressure, so let's really make him talk.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time, would it, boys?
We'll keep it.
Safety car, Luke. We call him the safety car king. He crashes whenever he's leading the pack under a safety car.
Oh, you got to have one in the group. So,
Yeah, there's always one Muppet.
Yeah, Dutch, you're doing well, mate. Tell us a bit about this Grindtech flooring, mate, while you got a chance.
It all stemmed from a weekend up at a mate's place, a mate's business. Grindtech flooring. Just put it to him, do you want to sponsor me? I don't want anything for it, just need a car, a livery for a car. And then a few other boys jumped on, and yeah, that's pretty much the story, mate. It's just wanted to, not run, a V8 supercar livery or a stock standard Mazda livery. Want to do my own thing, so had the chance to do it, and that's where it's at.
Well, mate, good luck for this one. You've only got 6 minutes to go, probably 3 or 4 laps. We're on board with Anthony Connors and watching that tail almost in the fence there for Dutch as he pushes it to the limit. And I'm not trying to put the mockers on you, mate, but he's looking good, isn't he, Anthony Connors? Where's his strengths? Do you think you're going to have to cover off? He was, nose into that first corner. He was probably nose in onto the apex a lot earlier than you.
Yeah, he's getting a better run out of turn 1, which is giving him heaps better toe up the hill and on this back straight here. I've kind of got him covered towards the back end of the circuit, the last 2 to 3 corners, so it looks like he might make a run here.
Here he goes, he jumps out of the toe
he's
and
backed out of it.
Back in again, so he chickened out, we'll say.
That's Ant. Just letting you know he's there.
Just filling the mirrors.
We got a spinner.
Oh, there's smoke. Well. Oh, good avoiding action there from everyone. In fact, Trappett, Dutch and Connors went through there. It was Nancaro, I think, who spun it round. We'll have a quick look at that on a replay. Nancaro, that would have made you pucker up a bit, boys.
Fair bit, actually.
Here we go. So check this out. Oh, he just touched the grass. So easy to do, the Nancaro racing car. And then check this out from on board. He sits there in the middle of the track. There goes the 3 wheels just talking about. And nothing in it. Good avoiding action. And you go with some good reflexes. You got to trust that driver too, that he holds the brake and doesn't roll off towards you, right?
Yeah, very much so, mate. I was in 2 minds, do I go left or right, and decided to stick it right, and it worked. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that as I run wide.
And Mark, next week, mate, obviously you got a week now to think about what will you do different next week.
Well, not crash would be the first thing that I wouldn't do. But yeah, look, I was lucky to get on tonight in the first place, but
Mark, might be a good idea. Might be a good idea about now to wish your wife a happy birthday.
yes, yes.
Oh, is it her birthday?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, someone's in the doghouse tonight.
Mrs. Foster, happy birthday.
Yes, and thanks for letting me race for a little bit.
Yep, he's going to be sleeping on the lounge.
So he didn't really crash. He's actually making her dinner and giving her a back massage right now.
I've done that. So look, next week I'm just hoping to look. My whole season is based around 0 incidents and just trying to be consistent. I've got no doubt that I'm nowhere near as fast as any of this top 8.
Yep.
So I'm hoping just to get up a little bit up the leaderboard with 0 incidents and having clean races, which I managed to do in race 1, but obviously race 2 didn't end very well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
No, it's good objectives to have, mate. Yeah. Hey, I tell you what, Aaron Borg's in P3, and I just noticed our good friend Brenton Hobson, he just lobs himself back into P4 here. So after that early pit stop, dropping all the way down to the back of the field, basically, trying something different tonight. He's coming home strong here. He's a 2/10 off a podium. He's going to have to work pretty hard against Aaron Borg, but I'm sure they've come up against each other in other forms of sim racing. At the moment, Phil Sell, once again, they're walking away a 1.4 second gap, and then the gap back to Boydie is just on 5 seconds. So, sorry, from Boyd to Borg is 5 seconds. So I think this is where we're going to be at now for the last couple of laps of this race. Just watching, Lee Harrison also in with a shot here. You've got Aaron Oliver, P6 in with a shot, and how about Glenn Boyd? And I've given him a few raps tonight. He's going to think I'm his biggest fanboy here, but he's up into 7th now. So that's, to me, one of the drives of the night. If I could pick and have a drive of the night vote, I think Glenn's going to probably clinch that deal for me tonight. That's a mega drive, and like I said, he has not given up. You'll find himself probably finishing 7th, if not 1 or 2 better, depending on what falls out here in the last lap or so. So we will get 2 to go. Timed beautifully again tonight by Greg. We're going to have Phil Still, I reckon, cross the line at the end of this lap with about 10 or so seconds to spare. He'll have to go again. So this always makes me nervous, thinking, did they put enough fuel in the car to account for an extra lap? Because you can account for a 30-minute race, but all of a sudden this becomes a 32-minute race because of that extra lap. And how many of these guys are going to struggle over the line, do you think?
I'm thinking that right now.
Are you on the fringe there, are you as well, Andrew?
I've got 2.1 laps left as we speak.
So you should get home then.
Hopefully.
Well, you're heading up there.
Definitely the issue is, Luke.
Yeah.
I know the guys are only talking about taking 1 extra lap or 1 extra litre of fuel, which obviously won't make a full lap. So if we go another 2 laps from now, there'll be a few who will be coughing and spluttering over the line, that's for sure.
Well, your top 2, who are a second between them, they both took 8.5 seconds worth of fuel, or roughly the same. Aaron Borg, who we're looking at now in P3, be it that he's 7 seconds back, he took an extra 2 seconds worth of fuel. He's got Hobbo right behind him, Harrison and Oliver, so I think Borg here is in a good position to at least push 100% throttle to the end of this race, drag Hobson along with him, and if all of a sudden, and we've seen it in the past, if Phil Sell and Boyd splutter on that last lap of this race, they could be in all sorts of trouble, and these guys will take the steal.
Yeah, with the uphill sections that you've got coming into this last little sector, it actually slows you down quite a lot if you're really trying to, if you've got no acceleration left. So it will be interesting to see, that's for sure.
Looking at Trappett here, still fighting with Connors and Andrew Dutch just in front of this battle. We've also got Neville Mell back further with Ben Snell. Mel and Snell, that's a tongue twister, that one. And Benny in the BGNZKU team. Not sure what that stands for, but it's very cool. Good livery on that car as well.
Yeah, they're back a lot further than they should be, these two.
How many laps to go, boys?
Well, we've just hit the 30-minute mark, and we've got 1 lap to go. So the white flag's dropped here for Jared Philsell, who's
Beautiful.
on his way on the final lap here, but the gap's come down. Just notice that was, we got a huge crash in the background. I'm trying to see who that was. There was a couple of cars now, they're back markers, I think. Have you guys come across that crash yet? There was a huge one. I can't pick up who it was.
It's Jack.
Oh, Aaron Oliver was in that too. So it was Oliver. In fact, it wasn't back markers. It was the guys up the front. We've got a secondary incident here as there's contact on a recovery here, but it was actually Glenn Boyd and Aaron Oliver involved in that crash. So we'll come and review that after the race is run and done, because we're on the final lap, but that's huge. So Glenn Boyd, after all that hard work, has dropped back some positions. Aaron Oliver, where does he end up? He's going to drop right outside the top 10 to 11th. So a bit of heartbreak on the final lap, and I was getting a bit excited that the gap had come down to under 0.8 of a second between the top 2, but Phil Sellers putting in a good performance here right at the end. Looking like he will edge out Boyd. I'll tell you what, back further though, it's Hobson getting past Aaron Borg for P3. Hobbo up into P3 now. Good overtake. Absolute classic overtake down the inside. He runs quite wide. You just see the way Borg was on and off the brakes there, trying to get that car to turn. And has Hobson done a master stroke here to at least get back on the podium in this on the final lap here. The checker flag's about to drop though. And how good is this? It has been a Jared Philsell show tonight. He takes the win by 0.7 of a second over Jack Boyd, and a great race has been between those two once again. And we look back further through the final corner. Hobson will take P3 tonight, 8.7 seconds off the lead, but takes a third over Aaron Borg, who's driven beautifully Cameron Edwards goes past Losh into the final corner to take 5th place. Wayne Losh, who I think may be spluttering with fuel there issues. Yeah, he's come 6th. Lee Harrison comes home 7th, followed by Jared Hughes. Matty T will come home in 9th, ahead of Keith Logan, who gets P10. Good job, top 10 there for Keith. Then Glenn Boyd comes through in 11th, and then we've got Andrew Dutch, who will come through, take the checker flag by a whisker here in the MX5 Class B race tonight. He gets it done over Anthony Connors. Good result, that one for Dutchy, 2 out of 2. Ahead of Pat Trappett there, Mel, Snell, Seeger and Jesse, who gets P3 in class. Jesse Carriage takes a 3rd in that class tonight. So good racing overall. We're going to have a quick second here just to organise ourselves before we do some podium interviews, but it's been a pleasure tonight once again with Greg Holmes in the house, Andrew Dutch commentating throughout the race while he's racing, and Mark Foster jumping in as well. Mark, thanks again, mate. We appreciate you popping in for a chat.
No worries, Luke. Speak to you soon, mate.
Thanks, buddy. Righto. We're going to wait now.
I'll catch up with you next week, Luke.
You off, eh, Greg?
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
I can hang around if you like, whatever you want.
It's up to you, mate. If you want to hang around, that'd be good.
All right, yeah, I'll hang around.
So we're just going to get the top 3 in shortly, and then Andrew's already here for the winner of Class B. In fact, we might go straight to you, Andrew, just to get some interviews underway while we wait for the results. But, mate, good racing. It was fantastic just to hear your perspective and talk to you as you went through there. But, mate, just for what we didn't see, talk us through your race.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of pressure in that first race from Scott Baker. Luckily, like I said, that I got a decent tow from the 86s, so I was able to extend that lead a little bit in the second race there. Obviously, Scotty had a little bit of a moment through those fast S's. And then, yeah, had Connors breathing down my neck that whole race, so I was sweating up a storm. Not as comfortable as I would have liked, but, you know, got the win, got both the wins, so I'm pretty happy, mate.
Fantastic, and Connors was right behind you, pushing you all the way. Anthony, well done tonight, mate. Good racing.
Thank you very much, Luke. I had nothing, mate. I couldn't. Everything I threw at him, I just get chucked straight back at me with cars sitting on the side of the road and spinning, and you know, I just didn't know where to go.
You could obviously see too that he was getting that assistance from the 86 in front, giving him a nice little tow along. How was that playing into your race?
Oh, well, I didn't go past him in the straights because I wanted him to, because we're running real low on fuel at the finish. So I just stayed behind him, so he used more fuel. But then at the end, then that 86 helped him out of heaps. Heaps that helped him out. So
that was good to watch. We're just waiting for the race results now, so we'll quickly have a look at those Group B results. First of all, up on your screen, we saw that replay a second ago of Glenn Boyd, who just lost it on the last lap there. We'll try and see in a second where Aaron Oliver got involved in that, but there is the win for the Grindtech Flooring Racing car of Andrew Dutch, followed by Anthony Connors, and Jesse takes out P3 tonight. So good result there for Group B, and shortly we'll get the Group A drivers in. But first of all, Andrew, who would you like to thank, mate? Give a bit of a shout out to the sponsors.
Obviously, first and foremost, Greg putting the hard yards in, all the admin boys for this league, yourself for the stellar job that you do with the broadcast, and obviously all the sponsors. So Roscoe up in Brisbane at Grindtech Flooring, Tommy at Next Gen Physio, got a new sponsor on board, Powered Electrical, and yeah, just all the boys again for good, clean, fun racing.
Great job tonight. Anthony P2, who would you like to thank for Lockmec Racing, mate?
yeah, I'd like to thank Greg, you, as well as you, Luke, and I'd like to thank Lockyer Roadworthy, Simworx, and Carriage and Sons, and yeah, thank you.
Well done. So that's the top two from our Group B. We'll get the Group A drivers in now for a quick chat as we head across the Group A results for the winners tonight. And it was Jared Filsell win there for Lobs Falcon Racing by 0.7 of a second over Jack Boyd and Brenton Hobson, who snuck home right at the end there to grab a top three result. So first of all, congratulations, Jared, mate. Well done getting yourself in there for another win tonight.
Yeah, cheers. That was a slightly more interesting race with a few battles going on. Hobbo decided to play a different card to go early. I think that just slightly hurt him with the traffic that he had to come back through. So yeah, it's just one of those races where you had to suck it up and deal with all the jostling for position at the start, and then yeah, try to play yourself in after the pit stop.
And there was some mega battles going on. I mean, I think you're sitting 8th or 7th at the end of the first lap. It took you a little while just to start picking your way through. Were you a bit hesitant to find the gaps and just, play the long game tonight in a half-hour race?
Yeah, I was just chilling. Yeah, saving fuel, so no need to rush on that one. We'll make our way through eventually. So, yeah, slow and steady. Actually gave me a little bit of a fuel advantage over Jack, which was good. So, just able to hold position at the end there. Only had to save a tiny amount of fuel just to get home, but made it work.
Hey mate, while we're chatting, I just want to quickly go back and try and find a replay, and I've got to scroll back a long way. But how about the pucker up moment when it was Kasha completely sideways right in front of you at the bus stop?
Yeah, that was a good fuel saving lap. I was out of the gas for a long time.
So we'll just have a look.
That was interesting. Yeah.
We're just having another look at it, but I want to look at it from your perspective here in the slow-mo, because like I said, it was pretty intense. So this is a slow-mo. You can see Ryan got all that shape up on the ripple strip there. Then he goes full lock. Like, you can't go any more lock than that. That's almost needs a drift locker adjustment to the front of that. But he brings it back and he held it. So, credit to him. Most people would have stuck that in the fence.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know which way he was going. He had a few moments, but managed to pick his pocket and choose the correct way to get through there. So lucky we got away with that without a incident or anything, which is good.
Very nice. Jack too, mate. P2, you had some good battles with Ryan and others, and then obviously right at the end there, just couldn't pick off Jared for a win, mate. But great competition again tonight. You're right up there. It's good for the championship. Just talk us quickly through your race.
Yeah, for sure. I felt this week was a lot better. On my part, I think my pace was a lot better as well. So, yeah, it was good to be able to hang with Jared for the most part. As he said, I just sort of went a bit hard too early in the last race there and just lost a small fuel advantage to Jared. So, I had to save about 300 mil there to make it to the end and probably ruined the chance to have a little battle on the last lap. But, all in all, still really close and, really enjoyable.
Great racing tonight. And then Brenton, mate, little sneaky pit stop on lap 3, something different. You came out of the train. We were just watching your lap times, about a couple of tenths off as you tried to work through traffic. Probably hurt you in the end, as Jared said. But good to see something different in strategy. And you pushed hard at the end there to get past Aaron Borg, who's driven a great race too. So, right at the end there had to get past him. So well done.
Yeah, thanks. I just decided to do something different. I mean, I wasn't having much fun in that group of cars wobbling around at the start. It was driving me insane. So I was like, we'll do it, we'll try it. I've talked about not doing that before. And the perfect example really why you shouldn't. We just lost too much time. But my pace wasn't very good anyway tonight. I wasn't able to go with those two at the front anyway. So third is probably where I should have been. I had to work hard for it, but that's where we got back to. So, credit to them. They're super fast this week. And, we'll try and do a little better next time.
And you came out of last round leading the championship. 8 incident points, I think it was. How'd you go this tonight on incident points?
I didn't get any incidents this week. I don't know how many anyone really would have got this week. It was a lot cleaner than last week, but I managed to avoid the incidents at least, but didn't capitalise on the points for the results. But we'll see where we shake out. Championship will be close. I think it will be all year, which is good.
It's fantastic. Right, let's do some thank yous for our Group A competitors, starting with our winner tonight, Jared Phil. Who would you like to thank, Jared?
Obviously thank Jordan again for his continued support of the team. I've got the correct livery on this week, which is good.
I got it there in the
end. Yeah, so it's good to have his business on the side of the car there, as well as all the other minor sponsors that are on the car, which is cool. I much prefer a white livery, so at least we're being diverse between myself and Hobbo. So we're looking after both ends of the world there. So thanks to those guys.
Very good. Thanks, Jared. And Jack, P2, who would you like to thank, buddy?
Yeah, just quickly, admins, broadcast to yourself. Going to go watch that last race back shortly. It should be good. Just thanks to the normal guys. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, mate. And then finally, Brenton, P3, mate, who would you like to thank?
Largely just reiterate what the others have said. Thanks to the guys in the team at SSR, sponsors, Wave Runner Performance Centre primarily. Want to throw a shout out to Aaron as well. That was really good little battle at the end there. Nice, clean, hard racing, and that's what we want from this series, to be able to race people with respect and go hard and without taking each other out. So that was real good. I enjoyed that. Obviously, shout out to Greg and all the team behind the series, and to yourself for the broadcast.
Thank you, Hobbo. So that was the top 3 tonight from Class A Jared Filser with the win tonight, Jack Boyd, P2 and Brenton Hobson, your top 3. So good night of racing. All in all, Greg, look, I feel really bad that Jesse's sitting there in the green room, so I'll drag him in really quickly. He's a little bit slow to get to the broadcast tonight, Jesse, but mate, well done, P3 in class. I'll give you a chance quickly just to do a couple of thank yous, mate, as we wrap things up.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks to Anthony, Greg, all the boys that run the league, the contestants. That was great fun tonight. So, yeah, thanks for that. Good on you, Luke.
Very good. Right, and quickly, before we wrap it up, Greg, next week we're off to another circuit, and I love this little scoring board you've got up here on simracing.news. So obviously the drivers will be keeping a track of that as the standings are updated. Hobbo was leading coming into round 2. Obviously you had down in the Group B as well. It's all up on that list, but I've got to say, where are we off to next week? It's Road Atlanta, isn't it?
It certainly is. That promises to be something special, I think, Luke.
Chaotic, I reckon. It's one of those tracks, especially up the top of the hill there. We might see a few cars taking the access road and heading down the hill an alternate way. But, mate, looking forward to that.
You will note that I've given you the week off after that, so you have got plenty of time to recover.
An old bloke like me needs to have a week off every 3 weeks, mate.
I second that.
That's very good. No, loving it. Series is absolutely cracking along beautifully. Like we said earlier, if you want to get involved, go and join the Facebook group, which is linked in the description for the video, and jump into a practice or two. Just get to know the guys, introduce yourself, say, hey, I want to get into the league. They'll invite you to a practice, and you can get out there racing in this fantastic series. So it's only going to get bigger and better, mate.
Yeah, no, and once again, thank you very much, Luke, for the fantastic job you do every week. It's really pushing us to limits that even I didn't expect. So well done, mate. You're really pushing us along.
All good, mate. Next week I'll start 10 minutes earlier and get my head around what I'm doing wrong, because we'll start at 10 to 8 next week, and we should have it all down pat then. So I do apologise for the run in right to the grid tonight. It was a bit of a rushed effort on my behalf. But thanks, Greg. Thanks, big thanks to Andrew Dutch as well, who came in for a chat and commentated while he drove. And we'll see you all same time, same place next week for round number 3 of the Roadster Rumble.
Thanks, Luke.
Cheers, guys.